Banks were built on a simple promise: give us your money and we will protect it. Behind thick wall doors, biometric scanners, CCTV cameras, encrypted servers, and compliance teams lies something far more powerful than steel or software: trust. Every time someone deposits a salary, signs a check, taps a card, or transfers money online, they are placing faith in the system they cannot see. And that is exactly where banking fraud begins. Banking fraud isn't a new story. It's the same plot with changing villains and evolving tricks. It almost always begins with trust and quietly ends with money disappearing. In the early 1970s, one of India's largest and most mysterious scams shook the banking system. A man claiming to be a spokesperson on behalf of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi called a senior cashier and convinced him to hand over 60 lakh in cash, an enormous amount at that time. The incident became known as the Nagarwala case. There was no hacking, no malware, no forced digital signature, just a voice, authority, urgency, and belief. The lesson was powerful. Fraud doesn't always need technology, it needs psychology. Decades later, fraud became larger, more complex, and deeply embedded inside banking system themselves. In 2018, a dementor Nirav Modi and his uncle Mehul Choksi were accused of orchestrating one of India's biggest banking frauds through Punjab National Bank. Using fraudulent letters of undertaking, bank guarantees meant to facilitate international trade. They allegedly secured overseas credit without proper collateral or entries in the bank's core system. By the time it surfaced, the exposure stood at roughly 1.4 billion. This wasn't just theft, it was a systematic failure. Internal controls bypassed, audits overlooked, red flags ignored. And when a public sector bank is hit, it's not just the shareholders who feel the impact. It's ordinary depositors, taxpayers, and the credibility of the entire financial system. Fraud, however, isn't limited to one country. In 2012, a coordinated global cybercrime operation known as Operation High Roller infiltrated corporation bank accounts across multiple countries. Hackers used sophisticated malware to capture credentials and initiate unauthorized wire transfers, often in real time. Millions were siphoned before banks could even understand what was happening. This marked a turning point. Banks were no longer protecting just vaults and branches. They were defending networks, servers, endpoints, and human behavior online. Because today, the weakest link is often not the firewall, it's the person behind the screen. Internal fraud remains equally dangerous. In a reported case involving ICICI Bank, an employee allegedly manipulated customer accounts by changing registered mobile numbers. Once alerts stopped reaching the actual account holders, funds were siphoned off using OTPs and internal access privileges. Over 4.5 crore was reportedly misappropriated before detection. Here, the fraud didn't break the system. It used the system exactly as designed, but with malicious intent. And in 2026, the fraud ecosystem has become even more layered. In February 2026, a 23-year-old student in Bengaluru reportedly handed over his bank credentials to a friend, assuming it was a temporary assist. Within 48 hours, nearly 7 crore in suspicious transactions were routed through his account. He later discovered he had unknowingly become part of a larger cyber laundering network. This is the new face of fraud: mule accounts.
Criminal networks now recruit ordinary people, sometimes students, sometimes daily wage workers, offering small payments to open bank accounts. These accounts are then used to move stolen funds rapidly across layers, making it harder for enforcement agencies to trace the original source. Police investigations in Ludhiana recently uncovered over 1,300 such mule accounts operating as a part of coordinated laundering chains. And then came one of the most alarming 2026 developments. At a Chandigarh branch of IDFC First Bank, discrepancies between ledger balances and actual government-linked funds triggered internal scrutiny. What followed was the discovery of a suspected 590 crore rupees fraud involving accounts associated with the Haryana government. Employees were suspended, forensic audits were ordered, and police complaints were filed. Even when regulators state there is no systematic risk, such cases raise serious governance questions. How did controls fail? Who signed off? Why were discrepancies not flagged earlier? Across 5 decades, from the Nagarwala call to billion-dollar guarantee frauds, from malware-driven global heists to mule account networks, the pattern is unmistakable. Fraud evolves, but its core anatomy remains consistent. First, trust is exploited. It may be authority, familiarity, institutional credibility, or digital authentication. Second, systems are manipulated through loopholes, insider access, technical vulnerabilities, or procedural blind spots. Third, money trails are obscured. Layered transactions, shell entities, mule accounts, cross-border transfers, all designed to buy time before detection. Banking fraud today is not random. It is structured, networked, often corporate in sophistication. Criminal groups operate with tech teams, recruiters, financial engineers, and global coordination. And the real damage is not just financial loss, it is erosion of confidence. Banks function because people believe their money is safe. When fraud becomes frequent, that belief weakens. And in finance, trust is everything. As we move deeper into 2026, controls are tightening. AI based monitoring, real time fraud analytics, biometric authentication, stricter KYC norms, all are being strengthened. But so are the methods of those trying to bypass them. Because fraud is not static, it adapts, which means the first line of defense is not just regulation or software, it is awareness. Understanding how fraud works, how trust is engineered, how systems are gamed, how money is layered is no longer optional. This is essential. Banking fraud may be an old story, but the next chapter is always being written.